Okay, guys, so let's start with the session. Let me just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Please give a thumbs up if it's visible. Okay, thank you. Just let me just mute my WhatsApp. It's ringing continuously. Okay, so a brief recap, and then we'll start with one topic which we need to do today. Right? It will not be a very hectic class. It will be just 45 to 1 hour. Right. So we started with database design. Right. Now, first of all, is the database abstraction provided by DBMS. So we learned about abstraction. That is the difference. That is the basically the abstraction provided by DBMS or the abstraction on views provided by DBMS at different level of hierarchy. Right. That is your if you are having a school database, right, and you cannot see the teachers can see the students data, but the students reversibly cannot see the teachers data, right? So that's known as abstraction, or we don't know exactly what the hidden features are, right? Basically data abstraction is also referring to that how the things are that what is the doing other than how the thing doing, right? Basically we don't know basically what the DBMS is doing under the hood, right? But we know what it is implementing. That's known as data abstraction. Then we read about database design. What is database design? It is a process of producing a detailed data model of a database, right? So we learned about data modeling also. So basically the collection of conceptual tools used for describing data relationships and data constraints. That is known as data model, right? Then we have object-based data model, which we'll do today, which is the ER model, that is entity relationship model, right? Then we have conceptual data model. So what do we have in conceptual? We have the high level relationships among the entities. We specify the entities and the relationships among them, but we don't specify any attributes as right. We don't specify any primary key or don't specify any constraints that are related to them. Now, in logical data model, in logical data model, we include the entities and the also the conceptual data model, we define a granular level of details, right? That is, we list all the attributes and we list all the constraints such as primary keys, foreign keys, and also normalization at this level. So if you compare the two diagrams, for conceptual data model, we just specify the relationships, right? That how the tables are connected with each other. But in the logical level, we also specify each and every constraint and all the attributes. So what were the steps in developing a database? The basic steps were requirement analysis, right? Conceptual database design, the logical based design, physical database design, right? What do we mean by physical database design? The physical database means the physical design choices. For example, if you are starting from a scratch, right? How much size of like space do you need to store the data? You are a small scale company, it might be possible that you need 100 GB of space, right? But if you are a very big scale, large scale company, it might happen that you might need terabytes of space. It all depends on the use case of the business, that how business is the users, right? What is your user footfall, right? Then we come, and also in physical database design, we also specify the storage mechanism. That is how your database will be stored in the physical storage, right? So in physical storage, I mean that basically B plus trees, heaps, like right. So the type of data structure in which your data is stored. Applications and security basically deals with the security standards which we implement in the database management systems, right? For example, username and password. We use username and password, or to access the database, we may use an Google SSO, right? So it all relates to the application and securities, right? Now comes entity relationship diagram or entity relationship model. So this is one basic model. It is usually basically these theoretical concepts are mostly asked by the mass recruiter companies, which are TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, Genpact, right? So and Capgemini, right? So these companies majorly focus on theoretical concepts, right? With the SQL concepts also, but they majorly focus on your theoretical concept. Why do they focus on theoretical concept? Because as you know, they hire in mass with nominal package, right? Nominal, I would say like 4 to 5 LP only, right? So these companies target mostly the theoretical portion. I have included only 1 to 2 examples in this unit, so we don't have to worry. Otherwise, it will become boring, right? Obviously, I know that this is not at all like asked in very high level companies. So in ER model, we will learn what are the entities and relationships in the enterprise, right? The information about entities, how do we store in the database, right? Integrity constraints, database schema in ER model, and how can we map ER diagram to a relation schema, right? So basically, what is an entity? Entity is a real world distinguishable object which is distinguishable for from other objects, right? For example, in a school database, we have student, teacher, course, right? Each one of them is an entity on its own. But and now these three are different from each other. That is, the student object is distinguishable from teacher, and vice versa. Teacher is distinguishable from course, right? Sorry guys, my throat is not well today. Okay. Every entity has a set of attributes or properties, right? So basically, if you are a student, you will have properties like student ID, roll number, right? Student name, address, Aadhaar card, everything, right? So it has a set of attributes or properties. Now, each attribute has a domain, right? Each entity has a value of each of these attributes. For example, we have a student whose property is name. When a new student will join, that student name column will have some value. For example, Ram, Sham, Ajay, right? Whatsoever, right? So each attribute has a value. Now in entity set, right? So set of similar entity, right, together form an entity set because they share same properties and same attributes, right? A set of, if we take set of students and we take set of teachers, they combinedly don't make an entity set because properties of students are different from properties of teachers, right? But if we take only students, if we take only a group of students, they together make an entity set, right? Each entity set has a key, right? But what do I mean by key? That which uniquely identifies that entity set or entity of that entity set. Now, then we talk about the relationships, right? What are relationships between those entities? So relationships are basically associations among two or more entities, right? If we talk about what a relationship comprises of, then a relationship has a name, right? A set of entities that participate in them, a degree, and a cardinality ratio, right? So relationships are of different types, as you guys might have read in your semesters also, right? We have one-to-one relationship, we have one-to-many relationship, and we have many-to-many relationship, right? So one-to-many and many-to-one are one and the same. So one-to-one relationship is basically each lecturer has a unique office. I'll just attach some examples. One-to-many, one lecturer can teach many students, right? So it is a one-to-many relationship. So course, right? A student can take several courses. A course can be taken by several students. So this is a many-to-many relationship, right? So these are basically the shapes which we use to define our entities, right? Now we have a problem statement. So we will do it theoretically, right? We have a problem statement right now. How we will do it? Right? Just give it a read. Give it a read for you for now. So we have a problem on music store, right? Which have entities such as artist, album, genre, and customer, right? So the problem has specified the entities beforehand. Now it has listed some relationships among them, right? So how will you get to know that? How will you get to know that? How does the entities work? Please go through the problem statement. I'm giving you 1 minute, 1 2 minutes. It's 7:53. At 7:55 we will start, right? So please go through the problem statement right now. So the examples are pretty easy. Don't worry about it. I hope guys you are reading the problem, right?
Yes, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Okay, let's continue. So as you are seeing that we have the entities, right? Artist, album, genre, and customer, right? So the relationships among them are defined in the points, right? An artist can be associated with multiple albums, right? So if an artist is associated with multiple albums, how we will define the relationship? Basically, I have not made a diagram for this problem, right? We are to just define the relationship, how these entities will be related with each other, right? The diagram is pretty easy. Nobody asks you to make the diagram. Basically, they ask you what are the relationships. TCS Wipro also asks how will the entities be related. They don't ask you to make a diagram, right? Because you cannot make. Obviously, you cannot make a diagram on this digital pad or your computer. It will take a hell lot of time. So basically, it goes on verbally kind of interview, right? So when you're asked how does artist relate to album, an artist can be associated with multiple albums, right? An artist create multiple albums. So what kind of relationship it is? 1:m relationship, right? Because an artist can create multiple albums, but an album, how is album related to an artist? It is related to as m:1 relationship, right? An artist can create multiple albums, but one album will be created by one artist only, right? First and third are just opposite, right? M artist relationship. Now, an artist is to the next, an artist belong to genres, right? Every genre belongs to each and every artist. Say about pop, rock, genre, right? So an artist singing, so we cannot say a genre is exclusive to an artist, right? So basically, when we talk about an artist can belong to multiple genres, a user can have also multiple artists because